Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, and Madison Metzdorf, Peter Brown with the weather, Joe Viscioni with sports, and Maddie Shipka with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. The sole victim of a house fire in Bristol, Connecticut last week was a man who grew up in Burlington and graduated from Shawsheen Tech. WTNH in Connecticut reports that in the early morning hours on Thursday, April 25th, the fire broke out at a multifamily in Bristol. There were 4 people in the 2-family home, and 3 were able to escape by going out to a balcony where a fire ladder rescued them. Sadly, however, Thomas Ludwig, who was in his bedroom when the fire started, was unable to evacuate in time and passed away. On a Facebook page for Burlington residents who have passed away, a resident posted that Ludwig had grown up in town. Ludwig's granddaughter, Alexis Jalbert, told WTNH that her grandfather was set to retire and that his loss was difficult for her and the rest of the family. Jalbert also started a GoFundMe page to help pay for funeral expenses, citing existing difficulties facing the family, including that her mother, Ludwig's daughter, is currently in the ICU in a medical coma. The GoFundMe page has a stated goal of $5,000. As of Friday, they had raised just over $3,000. You can find a link to the GoFundMe page on our website at bcattv.org/news. Tom also lost a brother, John Ludwig, in Vietnam in the early 1970s. Quick thinking on the part of a Burlington detective led to the arrest of a suspect in a breaking and entering attempt. Chief Michael Kent reports that the Burlington Police Department has arrested Nicholas Gormley, 24, of Whitman, who has been charged with unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle, carrying a firearm without a license, possession of ammunition without an FID card, receiving stolen property over $1,200, possession of a Class A drug, attempt to commit a crime, breaking and entering during the daytime, and possession of a large capacity feeding device. Police say that on Wednesday, April 24, Detective James Hannafin responded to an attempted break-in at a local residence. Upon arrival, police found that a basement window had been broken by a large rock. It is believed the suspect left after an audible alarm went off at the house. During his investigation of the break-in, Detective Hannafin viewed doorbell camera video of a male walking on the back deck of the home. Detective Hannafin shared still photos and a short video clip from the footage with area law enforcement agencies. However, despite cooperation from other agencies, it would be Hannafin himself who later saw and identified and arrested the suspect. On Thursday, April 25th at approximately 1:45 p.m., Detective Hannafin was working a traffic detail on Cambridge Street when he saw a man driving a blue Jeep SUV who he recognized as the suspect from the attempted break-in from the previous day. Detective Hannafin subsequently stopped the driver. The operator of the Jeep, later identified as Gormley, was unable to produce his license and registration during the traffic stop and was placed under arrest because he did not have an active driver's license in Massachusetts. Police say that during a routine inventory of Gormley's Jeep, police located a shotgun and ammunition, suspected drug paraphernalia, jewelry, a Burberry backpack, binoculars, and other goods that officers had probable cause to believe were stolen. Gormley also does not have a license to carry a firearm. Police Chief Michael Kent said it was fortunate that Detective Hannafin had seen the footage personally and that those homeowners had taken the precaution to put a high-quality surveillance camera in place. He also praised Detective Hannafin's vigilance and alertness that led to the arrest of the suspect. Gormley was held pending arraignment at Woburn District Court. The annual May town meeting is coming up, and like every year, there's a lot of articles, including the budget for town meeting members to digest. To help everyone understand the issues, Town Clerk Amy Warfield held a series of informational sessions. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford went to check one out and has this report.
In the lead-up to the annual Maytown meeting, Town Clerk Amy Warfield has been hosting informational sessions to get members caught up on the multiple warrant articles and to ensure everyone understands what they're going to be voting on. The forums are a chance for department heads and committee members to explain budget proposals and why they feel certain warrant articles are important, and for members to ask questions.
What I found is that a lot of times even if they're not new town meeting members, they have questions on what the process and the procedures are. And so it's just been the informational meetings have been a chance to get people kind of familiar with the what goes on before we get to town meeting. It's not just a 1 or 2 night event. It's got a lot of weeks of prep that go into it.
Having a good grasp on complex issues, especially the intricacies of the budget, is important for town meeting members who have to vote on a lot of issues one after the other.
They are the legislative branch, so we need them to be as educated as possible on what they're spending our money on. And so that's another way that the informational meetings kind of say, okay, you're looking at a budget, what is in that budget? Where's the money going? Just for instance, the comment has been made several times, what the guidelines were. That way they can then compare and say, okay, well, maybe something needs to be cut, or maybe that's why this particular budget is not following guidelines because there was a couple things in it that needed to be addressed.
Finally, Warfield said the sessions also serve as preparation for the department heads, who can get a sense of what members might ask during actual town meeting and be better prepared with their answers.
That's one of the things that I try to say to my fellow department heads is, this is your opportunity to kind of test run a particular item that you're bringing up or something like that. You're going to find out and get questions about, well, I don't understand why we're doing this, or what's the purpose for this, or how come we have to spend so much money to do this, and that'll give you then the background that at town meeting, when the similar questions get brought up, you've got a basis to understand and answer those questions.
From the town meeting info session, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
You can find a link to all of the episodes on our website at bcattv.org. The town of Burlington may soon have a new employee that would act as the face of the government to the business community. Town meeting will vote during the annual town meeting in May on a proposal for a new economic development director position. The article was put in the warrant by the Board of Selectmen at the request of Town Administrator Paul Sagarino, who said the position was identified in the master plan as something important to the future of the town. The roles and the responsibilities of the position are not yet set in stone to allow the position to grow and adapt. The person will serve as the main point of contact for businesses, developers, property owners, and real estate professionals in town. They will also help business navigate their way through the town's various processes and boards necessary for approval. Sagarino said this will make businesses be more inclined to come to town because currently there is no such help for applicants, and the process can be daunting. Another reason for the position, other than making it easier for businesses, is the position is to attract the types of businesses it wants and to keep them. That, Sagarino says, is getting more difficult as other towns in the area are getting more competitive in attempting to attract businesses into their town and therefore into their tax base. For example, Bedford, Lexington, Arlington, Billerica, Concord, and Reading all have a person in this role or something similar. The Board of Selectmen voted 5-0 to recommend the warrant article's passage at town meeting. In cookie news, Burlington Girl Scouts visited Hanscom Air Force Base recently to deliver cookies for a cause. The Girl Scouts donated their beloved confections to Massachusetts veterans and active servicemen and women serving overseas. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak was on the base and has this report.
Defending America and her interests are the outstanding men and women of Hanscom Air Force Base, and they deserve a treat. Burlington Girl Scouts recently took part in the 5th annual Cookies for a Cause, making Girl Scout cookie donations to veterans and active military personnel.
Today is the day that all the girls come together and drop off cookies for the Cookies for a Cause. Sometimes the girls, when they have sold cookies, people don't want to actually purchase them for themselves, so they want to be able to give the money, but they don't want to eat the actual cookies. So they'll give money, and then we take that money and put it towards cookies, and then we do a day like this where we distribute the cookies at Hanscom Air Force Base.
Girl Scouts from all over eastern Massachusetts took part with donations, making thank you cards, playing games with the base personnel, and getting photo ops with the troops.
The Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts have collected donations of cookies during their cookie sales, and they have given back to our military community. and to our deployers and our veterans and their families.
I asked where all the Girl Scout cookies were being deployed.
They end up to our local vets in the New England area. They also make their way down to our airmen that are overseas, serving overseas. So they just kind of make their way around.
From Thin Mints to peanut butter tagalongs, American Girl Scout cookies are on their way into the wild blue yonder. From Hanscom Air Force Base, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak.
The Burlington Police Department is warning of the return of a scam that attempts to get your paycheck before it even hits your bank account. According to police, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center says to be aware of fraudsters who are targeting your paycheck via direct deposit. Any worker who can be affected by this scam, but the industries getting hit the hardest include education, healthcare, and commercial airway transportation, the FBI says. Here's what happens. The scammers use your work login info to get into your employer's HR system to replace your direct deposit information with his own. It starts when an employee receives an email that looks just familiar enough that he doesn't question it too much. The email includes a link or web address that the user clicks on. Once he clicks, he will be directed to a fraudulent site or portal where the victim will be asked to enter his work credentials to confirm his identity. The scammers use that login ID and password to change the employee's direct deposit information in the company's files. Often the fraudsters even change other account settings in the system, preventing the victim from receiving an email warning that changes have been made to his account or her account. Here's how employees can avoid being scammed. Make sure you verify with your employer that a suspicious email is valid. Send it to your office's HR or IT departments for confirmation. Keep an eye out for any misspelled words, odd phrasing, and poor grammar. These could be indications that the email is coming from elsewhere in the world. If the email includes any links to web pages, hover your mouse over the link and confirm that the URL is exactly the same as that used by the payroll company. Don't click if you aren't 100% sure. Get ready for a musical journey through London as the Burlington Players present their spring production of Sweeney Todd. BNews reporter Robert Paris went to check out a rehearsal, and has this preview.
The Burlington Players are back, and this time they will be telling the classic tale of the barber on London's Fleet Street, Sweeney Todd.
It's a musical. Oddly enough, this is the 40th anniversary of Sweeney Todd from when it opened on Broadway.
Audience members will be engaged while they watch dark and suspenseful moments throughout Sweeney Todd's journey through London.
The story itself, I think, is pretty well known. Sweeney Todd is a barber who was exiled, and he comes back to avenge his wife and daughter, and he does that by taking his vengeance out on the judge and the beadle, which is his bailiff, for what they did to him.
I had a chance to speak with the actors and actresses about their experience with the Burlington Players.
Well, I'm playing Sweeney Todd, also the subtitled The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, who was a man unjustly accused of a crime because the evil judge and his beadle were in love with my wife. So I get sent overseas and deported to Australia, come back in disguise, and hear a horrible fate that happened to my wife and daughter. So now the rest of the play is my kind of gradual moral decline as I'm trying to seek revenge.
I play Mrs. Lovett. She's the owner of the pie shop. She's Sweeney's landlord. And she's really the one who sort of comes up with the idea to start putting the people into the pies.
If you haven't seen Sweeney Todd, you are in for a treat.
First and foremost, I hope they're entertained by it. Production we're doing is, let me put it this way, it's not your grandma's Sweeney Todd, okay? We're doing a very edgy kind of Sweeney Todd, and if you think of the Broadway version, it's very, ours is what I would consider a non-traditional version of it.
From the Park Playhouse, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Weekly.
Help honor Burlington's deceased veterans and help the town get ready to honor all of our nation's fallen heroes on Memorial Day. Burlington's Office of Veterans Services is seeking volunteers to help place 3,000 flags on the graves of veterans for the Memorial Day observation. Veterans Services Director Chris Hannafin said that every city and town across Massachusetts replaces all of the American flags on veterans' graves prior to the holiday, and that is a tradition that goes back decades. Volunteers are asked to gather at Chestnut Hill Cemetery on Bedford Street at 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 22nd to help with the flag placement. After the flags are placed on graves, the group will move to the Pine Haven Cemetery. Unlike in past years, there is no need to RSVP. Anyone can just show up and lend a hand. In our series, Who Works for Burlington, we talk to town employees, not often in the spotlight. Featured this time is purchasing analyst Kate Moskos. Let's take a look.
The town of Burlington has many talented employees in its various departments, and while residents see and talk to some of them on a regular basis, there are others who are not often in the public eye. What they do may be unknown to most residents, so that is why we are looking into Who Works for Burlington. For this edition of Who Works for Burlington, I went to the second floor of Town Hall and met with purchasing analyst Kate Moskos. I started by asking her what the main role of a purchasing analyst with a municipality is.
Purchasing analyst is actually, it says purchasing, but I do a lot of different things. Purchasing is one of my responsibilities. The state of Massachusetts requires all municipalities to follow rules and regulations surrounding purchases using public funds. So I work with the various departments to make sure that those the purchases that we do make are within the guidelines that we're expected to follow.
However, it isn't all just making purchases.
And in addition to purchasing, I also have consolidated the cell phone policy and the cell phone management into one vendor, under one account. Same with Amazon. I do a lot of work with the insurance, both the general liability and workers' compensation, and I work with the various departments on keeping the claims low and looking for ways to reduce costs in that area.
Kate says a lot of her work is aimed at saving as much taxpayer money as possible, and this can be done in many ways, including working with other communities to buy in bulk.
Well, that's first of all, that can start with, let's say, a police cruiser or an ambulance, and see what the department is looking at purchasing and seeing if there's another opportunity to, you know, if we're not going to go through combis, is there another group purchasing that's out there that has already done this and allows other municipalities to kind of piggyback off of them, because if one group is going to be buying 5 or 6, there's a chance, you know, buy 5 or 6 cruisers or ambulance, there's a good chance that they have a vendor that's willing to provide a discount, knowing that that vendor is going to have more than one ambulance a year. There's a lot of opportunity for cost savings, and I try to maximize that.
Kate has been working in municipal government since 2007 and has been with Burlington since 2015. Along with a master's degree in public administration, she has taken many certificate courses provided by the state for people in her position. Things are always evolving and changing, and she is always learning something new and expanding on her education.
I've also been taking a strategic sourcing certificate program, which is how the state purchases their supplies, services, construction, all that stuff, and that's based on best value. So while I'm required to go based on the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, the state goes based on the best value. So that is an opportunity right there to not only look at the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, but also what the best value is.
Finally, Kate says she enjoys working in Burlington Town Hall.
It's a great working group. It really is. There's really never a dull moment. It's very active. Very active, yeah.
From Burlington Town Hall, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown in our weather center for the latest forecast and to find out if this rain will ever stop. Apparently it's not going to. We'll also check out the community calendar with Maddie Shipka to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. And I know I hate to be the bearer of bad news again. It looks like our beautiful weather that we've been having here to start off May is going to be continuing for another maybe 4 or 5 days or so. I know it's, for those of you just like me who like the warm weather, this has been probably the worst really end of April and start of May that I can really remember. And again, starting out our period on Friday, I can't believe that we are actually into May. We really are. We're not in the middle of winter. We are actually in the middle of spring right now. I know it's hard to believe. But again, we're going to be starting out with high temperatures below average. Again, temperatures, though, not quite as cold as they've been the past few days here in the Burlington area. Looks like we're going to see temperatures get up to near 60 when we get into Friday in the time frame. Our overnight lows, though, staying about average, so that's a good piece at least. If you have to be out and about in the Burlington area, it's not going to be too cold, not like the really chilly and damp weather that we've been seeing in the past week or so. However, we are going to be a long, long ways away from our record high of 90, and that is something I really don't see in the foreseeable future for us anytime soon. And as we round out the period, look at this, getting into the second week of May, our average high should be starting to hit near 70. Now, we may see maybe a day or two in the next 7 days that we could approach that, but as we get towards the end of the period again, you're going to see, of course, more of the same, we're afraid to say. But of course, the only thing that's good is the days keep getting longer and longer, so at least we have the sun, or at least we think the sun might be still up there. Now, as we go ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what we're expecting for temperatures and precip for the next month or so here in the Burlington area. As we go ahead, we're going to take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is saying for us, and this is a look at what the precip chances are going to be for our area. Now, up here in the Burlington area, it looks like it's going to be, maybe it's going to dry out a little bit. Maybe we're going to see maybe average precipitation instead of day after day after day of showers and rain. Looks like, though, if you're going anywhere really across the lower 48, except for the Pacific Northwest, looks like we're going to have a pretty wet May coming up. Now, as we go ahead, we're going to take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is saying for chances of our temperatures over the next 4 weeks. And this is something I really have to take with a grain of salt, because they're calling for us here in the Burlington area and much of southern New England to have near or maybe slightly above average temperatures. Hopefully that does pan out for us, but as we're going to see in the next 7 days, that really is not going to be the case here. Looks like the chances of really warm temperatures, of course, this time of the year are going to be down in the southeast and especially in Florida and out on the west coast as well. But if you're traveling out to the Midwest, folks, looks like you're going to be seeing pretty much the same type of weather that we've been seeing here in New England for the past month or so. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those temperatures and the weather coming up from the 7 days. And there's really not a lot much different here than we've seen over the past 3 to 4 weeks. Again, starting out our period on Friday, temperatures around 60 with that chance of showers again. Now, Saturday and Sunday, looks like if you're going to be out and around Burlington area, get out on Saturday. That's going to be the pick of the weekend, even though we're going to see some clouds and showery conditions. Some steadier and heavier rain, though, is going to make it in here on Sunday. And if you're out on Saturday, look at this, temperatures up near 70. So try to get out there and enjoy the weather on Saturday, because Sunday is going to be a real washout. Now, look at this, Monday and Tuesday. Looks like we have a couple of days maybe to string together without any rain at all, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Might have to put in the chance of maybe a spot shower here and there, but again, temperature's fairly pleasant. But again, Wednesday and Thursday ending out the period. Unfortunately for us, looks like those chances of rain are going to be moving back into the Burlington area again with temperatures near or just slightly below average. So really not really great for this time of the year, but nothing as cold as we've seen the past week. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, stay dry, and have a great week.
I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your Community Calendar. Come and meet a well-known news anchor. On Friday, May 10th, from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m., the Burlington Rotary Club will be having a luncheon with guest speaker Doug Meehan, the co-anchor of WCVB's Channel 5 weekday morning eye-opener newscast at the Hilton Garden Inn on Five Wheeler Road. The event is $20 per person. Everyone is welcome, and for more information, visit the Burlington Rotary Club Facebook page. Looking for a new hobby? On Friday, May 10th at 5:30 p.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having an archery class given by On the Mark Archery. Students and adults will compete individually and in team challenges through a variety of games and drills. Everyone is welcome, and pre-registration is required. Equipment will be provided. The course is open to adults on Range 1 and youths grades 5 and up on Range 2. For more information and to register, visit burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695. Enjoy a nice walk with your canine. On Saturday, May 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Northeast Coonhound Rescue Incorporated will be having a Coonhound and Beagle Trail Walk at the Mill Pond Reservoir. Everyone is welcome, including dogs. The event is also free. All dogs must be on a leash, and the walk will meet in front of the water treatment facility. For more information, visit necoonhoundrescue.org/events. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your Community Calendar.
The spring sports season is in full swing, and Burlington teams are playing hard. For the latest Red Devils action, we go to BNEWS sports reporter Joe Viscioni for this week's sports report.
Hello everyone, I'm Joe Viscioni for your weekly sports report. Burlington High teams are near the midpoint of the season so far. The girls softball team played against the Stoneham Spartans on Monday, April 29th at Marvin Field. We have some highlights, so let's go check them out.
On Monday, April 29th, the BHS girls softball team faced off against the Stoneham Spartans at Marvin Field. The Lady Devils played very well on defense, only allowing their opponent one run to home plate. However, when it was Burlington's turn up at bat, things got out of hand quickly. Burlington made it around the diamond 13 times, outscoring their opponent 13-1 in the victory. We had a chance to speak with the coaches as well as senior and pitcher Erica Carney about the W.
We feel great. Started off a little slow, but we made it work in the end. Our defense, we had a few mishaps, but they really ended it strong. And our pitcher Erica pitched really great.
Yeah, just go along with what Coach Danielle said. Defense was a little shaky in the beginning, made a couple errors, really tightened it up behind our pitcher.
I think the first inning, I definitely lost a little bit of control of my spots, so that's where the few hits came from. But then as the game progressed, I got more control of the zone and was starting to hit my spots a little better.
As for the Lady Devils, they hold a record of 6-1 on the season. They will travel to Melrose to take on the Red Raiders on Friday at 4 p.m. at Pine Banks Park.
The boys track team defeated the Watertown Red Raiders on Wednesday afternoon 106-26. The team's season is still going strong as they remain unbeaten, and they have locked up the Middlesex League Freedom Division title once again. The Lady Devils track team also won against the Red Raiders on Wednesday as well, with a final score of 104-32. Both teams will face off in Melrose next week. The boys will meet on Tuesday, May 7th at 4 p.m., and the girls on Wednesday, May 8th at 4 p.m. The Red Devils baseball team had a shutout in their matchup on Wednesday at Victory Field in Watertown. The final score was 5-0 Burlington. The team record stands at 4-4, and they'll travel to Melrose to take on the Red Raiders on Friday at 4 p.m. Girls and boys lacrosse teams both had victories yesterday against the Wilmington Wildcats on Tuesday, April 30th. The boys delivered a shutout score of 14-4, while the girls had a very tight game of 10-9. Both of the teams will face against the Reading Rockets on Friday, May 3rd. The girls will be visiting the Reading Rockets and the boys will play at home. Finally, the boys and girls tennis teams both had wins against Melrose on Wednesday. The boys won their game with a final score of 4-1, and they now stand at 6-3 in their division. A shutout was made by the Lady Devils as their final score was 5-0. Individual wins were made by junior Niti Siram, freshman Annabelle Wiley, seniors Madison Metzdorf and Jessica Abrevea, and sophomore Liz Gillespie. For first-year head coach Tony Moscato, his team currently stands at 7-2 in the division. Both teams will play again on Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. against the Reading Rockets. The boys will also play at home and the girls will play away. Anyways, that's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Joe Viscioni, and back to you guys in the studio.
One final sports story. The Burlington Athletic Boosters Club held their annual basketball fundraiser with members of the New England Patriots. Past and present members of the team made an appearance for the charity game. BNews reporter Robert Parris and BCAT intern Madison Metzdorf were at the game and filed this report.
On Thursday, April 25th, the Burlington Athletic Booster Club sponsored the New England Patriots Celebrity Basketball Game, a special night for the Burlington community and die-hard Patriots fans.
Great fundraiser tonight for our Boosters organization. They're going to come in. The Patriots are here. The Burlington All-Stars are here, having a great basketball game, supporting our boosters and our athletes in the community.
The night's matchup was between current and past Patriots players against the Boosters All-Stars, consisting of Burlington basketball players of all ages and company members who entered to play as a sponsor. BNEWS sports reporter Robert Paris got the chance to speak with the new tight end Austin Severian-Jenkins, who recently signed to a one-year deal with the New England Patriots, and he had a lot to share about the meaning behind this exciting event.
Well, I think this fundraiser, first of all, gets the community together and everyone can have a good time and enjoy themselves with basketball, and then obviously, donate not only their money but time to a good cause and helping people, whether it be a scholarship foundation or just helping the overall community.
The Burlington community surely lucked out this year with the highly recognized Patriots players that were involved in this event. Announcer and entertainer John Horgan shared a few words regarding each player that participated in the game.
But it's a good event. We got James White here, 3-time Super Bowl champion, hero of Super Bowl 51, Landon Roberts, E-Rob. It was his birthday a couple of days ago playing. Also Jonathan Jones, one of the great cover corners right now in the NFL. And then we have Rob Ninkovich and brand new tight end Austin Severian-Jenkins. So it's a good matchup.
Senior basketball player Sean Hurley, who was a standout player for the Boosters All-Stars, shared what it meant to him being back on his home court playing with the Patriots.
It's nice to be back out here. Haven't gotten the chance to play ball at home in a long time. And it's nice that Mr. Hart let me and Alex come down and play again, especially against the Super Bowl champions. It's always nice.
All who attended this exciting event experienced a competitive basketball game, interacted with the New England Patriots, and went home smiling with an autograph from their favorite player. From the BHS varsity court, this is Madison Metzdorf and Robert Paris, BNEWS Weekly.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week we have a photo of inspiring Burlington students who don't let anything slow them down. It is from Burlington Public Schools and shows some of the student athletes who participated in the Special Olympics event at Wilmington High School this week. Congrats to all the student athletes who took part in the games. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, whether outside your own door, or photos of your family members, friends, and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Madison Metzdorf, Peter Brown with the weather, Maddie Shipko with the community calendar, and Joe Viscioni with sports. Thank you for joining us.